Hi everybody, Jill here. Welcome to my channel. I hope that you decide to stick around. This is a full face makeup look and we're going to speed through it pretty quickly and we're going to hang out a little longer with the eyes so we can really go through that part of it. So, all right guys, so here's a little preview for you so you can decide if you'd like to stick around. All right, so, you've seen me go through my foundation and my concealer. Feel like you really don't need to sit there and watch me do this, but I am going to let you know what it is that I'm working with today. I'm going to be applying my Light Illusion Flower Beauty foundation here with a damp Real Technique sponge. It's wrung out and pressed in a towel really, really well. So it feels just more cool. It makes the sponge just more pliable and easy to work with because when they're not damp, they're actually pretty hard. I feel like they don't press in product as well and they just don't work as well. And it took me a while to figure that out. I really prefer, look at how much it really kind of poofs up and it's softer. It feels lovely on the skin. It's very cool and feels great. So try that out if you haven't already. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then after that, I'm going to use my absolute favorite concealer, of which I've noticed I think it's running out and I'm going to have to get a new one. And I totally am. And this is the BareMinerals BareSkin Serum Concealer. This is in, I believe it's either fair or light. It's the lightest color within their range. So I'm going to be doing that. And so let's speed through that real quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and do some finishers right now. I treat this one like a finisher. I have found it works best that way, and I've been really enjoying it as long as I use it more like a finisher than a bronzer. But it does warm up my complexion quite a bit, and I like that illusion, especially in the spring summertime. So this is the Invisible Bronze by BareMinerals. We're going to be using that, and then I'm going to take it a little bit further and blur things out. This is more of a warming of my complexion than it is a blur, kind of like how I like to use radiances and this here peach blur. So I'm going to be going over everything with peach blur as well, and this is going to give me a really lovely complexion to then maybe put a little bit of blush on top of, and it's going to look really pretty all day. Now, because I kind of warmed up really my whole complexion, I'm only going to use kind of this peach blur right kind of more in the center of my face where I want the light to play a little bit more and brighten things up. So I'm doing it right over the tops of my cheekbones, over my nose, kind of the center of my face with peach blur. All right, guys, we're ready for the eyes now. Many of you really seem to like the look that I was wearing with my last gab sesh, and so I decided I'm going to try to recreate that look for you guys. So I didn't actually use a wash color that day. I went straight in to Shimma Shimma here and I put it on my ring finger, and I put it right on my mobile lid and in the inner corner area like I do like to do with Shimma Shimma. This is a gorgeous color. It's just like a wet vanilla. It's gorgeous, like a French vanilla color, and it's not too champagne-y, and it's just perfect. I hope they never discontinue this because it's something that I will miss tremendously if they do. So I'm going to go in with my pinky now and do an extra coating right here in the corner. And I lay my pinky down and I kind of have to stretch out that crepiness to really get it down in there. And then I just press it in and I kind of bring it up because I do like that color kind of right in here as well. And I got a little bit right there. So that's that. One of my favorites. If you like and enjoy following along with me, you know, with my makeup tutorials, my eye looks, you're definitely going to want to score you a Shimma Shimma because I tend to use it pretty often. Now, I did get some down in here. I'm going to want to get that off at some point because I don't want to shimmer up my crepiness down below. So it wipes off pretty good and we can just remove that like so. All right, let's begin then. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a very neutral taupe. So we don't want anything screaming orangey brown. We want a very nice neutral taupe for this. I don't want it to be the center of my look, but I do want to define a little bit. I want to push back some of my puffiness, and I want to kind of push back even a little bit of my hooded eye that's going on. I don't have a tremendously intense hooded eye, but it does make me look a little sleepy if I don't do a little something something there. So this color is quite matte. And I'm going to go right in here with, so if you have Taupe Notch or Barcelona Beach, either one of these I think is going to work well. I'm just going to go ahead and do Taupe Notch, I think. You can build the intensity. These are very buildable. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my Morphe 441 brush for this because it does cover quite a lot of ground. Taupe Notch. So I'm going to go ahead now and just kind of lightly press this, and I'm pressing, and I'm not too concerned about really, you know, getting it here in the corner because I do want it to go there in the outer third of the eye, and I'm just pressing, and I'm depositing that pigment when I do this. And I'm also really cutting down on fallout. So I tap the brush really well when I load it, gets rid of that first round of fallout. And then I'm going to just press it right here, right where I want it, turning the brush, pressing it again. And I do this without even kind of thinking about it really. And that way I have established exactly where I want it to go, and I've cut down on fallout quite a bit. And also I've managed to press it in and around that crepiness. So there's not skipping right away, and then it's not being flung and put in areas that I don't want it. I think you'll find, especially as you get over the age of 40, you know, it all happens to us at different ages per se, but I think you'll find that technique is going to make your eye makeup applications so much easier, and therefore it becomes kind of more enjoyable and you're not fighting it so much. So here we go. Now I'm really now lightening the pressure quite a bit. Most of my pigment now is on my skin, so now I'm just going to take it very lightly, feather light, and I'm going to just now blend out that top line. And if you feel like you even need to blend it out even further, you can take something like the CO6 brush here by Spectrum, and you can just kind of lightly go over it and even mute that line on the side and on the top further without really blending over the top of what you just did. I really like this application to be very soft, and then I can decide, you know, how kind of the depth of color that I want. And you can too. If you don't want quite this much, then, you know, really load that brush carefully, tap it off really well. That way you're not just throwing a bunch of pigment on right out of the gate, and you can control the depth of each and every color that you use. Let's get this eye caught up. Now, of course, I'm always paying attention to how far down I bring this color. every color actually. And in case this is the first tutorial that you've watched of mine, I really kind of established this mental line, and I find that it's so powerful in kind of allowing the eye to have the illusion of just everything's going upward. And that is the outer corner of the nose, and this works on everyone because everybody's features is different, so this is going to all work no matter how wide set your nostrils are or your eyes. It's just something that works across the board. So outer corner of the nose, outer corner of the eye, and right around there is where you want your brow line to stop. And if it goes quite short of that, you can, you know, use a little eyebrow powder and kind of coax it down just a little bit. But don't bring it farther than that, because then again, even though your eyeshadow might be really giving a nice lift, if that eyebrow goes a little low, well, everything's going to be drawn down once again. It's all an illusion. Makeup is just an illusion anyway. And so that's the line that I really kind of mentally work with. Sometimes I'll break that line a little bit if I'm wanting a really smoky kind of look. But for the most part, that intensity is still going to fall right in that line there. I'm going to go into the taupe notch and just do the tips of my brush here. And I'm just going to beef up the intensity here on the outer part of this look, kind of that outer third. I'm not going to deposit any more right in here, just kind of right in here. This was a pretty easy look to achieve. Didn't use a ton of different colors. I hope I'm remembering it correctly. Okay, nice. Okay, so now I'm gonna, again, intensify a little bit more, and I'm gonna go in now with this really beautiful bold color, and this is called Americano. Not sure if this one was one that was discontinued or not. I'll try to find one that is similar. What you want to look for in your collection is, again, this is a matte color, as was the one that we just used. This is more of like a chocolate brown. It really is just kind of a deep chocolate cacao color, you know, if that makes sense. And I'm going to go in with a smaller dome brush. I want a bit more control here. So I'm going to go for a Makeup Geek dome brush here. This one is probably the middle size, not the biggest, not the smallest. And I'm going to go ahead and take that brush and I'm going to press in some pigment, and I'm going to really carefully just really knock that away. So now I'm really going to concentrate here on the outer third of this look. I want to deepen this once again, and I'm going to bring this color up a little bit, matching where we left off there, up a little bit higher. I'm going to bring it in even a little bit as well, but I really want to intensify just kind of this outer third area. Don't want to go crazy there. If you feel like you picked up a little too much pigment, don't try to continue to blend. It'll go places you don't want it to. So I'm going to pick up my little blender here and I'm going to blend it with this. And I always like to wipe this off in between. Let's load up a little bit more and go on to this eye here. Again, I'm still pressing that pigment on first and kind of lightly just pressing and moving it around here and there. And I'm going to bring this color just kind of right around halfway. And depending on how hooded you are, you're going to want to bring it up a little higher. And it depends too on how much space you have between your mobile lid and your brow. All my looks are pretty good for hooded eyes, I think. And it's really because, you know, mature eyes, we all tend to have generally a little bit of hoodedness going on. And so I tend to build my looks around that anyway. Okay. Just kind of making sure that I got things fairly equal. Don't stress out about that too much. You know, trying to get them exactly. I mean, as long as you're in the ballpark, you're good. Remember, we're just establishing an illusion really more than anything. Okay, I want to do something here underneath the lower lash line now. So I'm actually going to take the, what did I do? I'm trying to remember what I did. All right, so I'm going to use the smallest little Makeup Geek dome brush here. I'll try to link these down below as well. And I'm going to go in with that Americano, the dark one. So I'm going to load up this little tiny dome brush here. I'm going to tap it off really well, and I'm probably even going to tap it a couple times down here on my little towel thing. And we are going to tap this in, eyes real wide. And yes, this is going to cover some space here, but try to, again, push it as close to that line as you can, the lash line itself. And I'm just going to start tapping this in all the way over. I do have to tend to open my mouth. It's not flattering at all, but it's kind of what I gotta do. And I'm joining this right up here. I'm being careful not to go too far out here. I'm joining it, I'm not breaking that line. Making this very soft. Once I've kind of tapped it in, I can then kind of take it really lightly back and forth. And I'm making this quite soft. I don't want to see a line. It looks a little funny without, you know, having your mascara on and everything, but believe me, trust me, it will look really pretty. Pressing, dragging, joining. Okay, we are done with the Makeup Geek shadows. We're gonna now intensify this even a little more with that really pretty color in the White Peach palette. We're going right into that on the grill. It's, again, this really unique color, and I love it. Okay. I'm gonna use that same very small Makeup Geek dome brush here, and I'm going to go right in to that on the grill color, and I'm going to press it in and really tap it off. This color is only going to go on the outer part of the mobile lid. We're not going to take it any higher. It's just going to go right here, and I'm going to take it really and push it underneath so it gets very close to that lash line. And again, I'm not going to take it too far out. Reloading. I'm going to go to the other side now. And when I say push up and in, it's because microscopically our tissue as we age, it tends to fall over our lash line. So if we really want it to get right up to the lash line, we have to sometimes lift the tissue a little bit and make sure that it is definitely right sitting next to that lash line. Okay, I want it a little more intensity, so I'm gonna press it in a little more. It's better to go in light layers than it is to go hard and heavy right away. Okay. All right, I am going to use a little bit of that color down in the outer area of my lower lash line. I want a lot of precision on this, and I do want this color to be very close to that lash line. So I'm going to go in with something like this. This is an e.l.f. brush, and the bristles are shoved so far down in here that it really gives you a very firm, good control. So I'm going to load that with the On the Grill color as well. Really tap that off. I'm even going to bounce it once on my towel down here. And I'm just going to really get this quite close to my lash line. Gonna go really only about halfway. Now we're going to tightline and waterline, and what I have found recently that it's so much easier for me to do my tightlining underneath the upper lash line if I curl my lashes first. It kind of gets them out of the way, and it just makes it so much easier. So I'm going to go ahead now and curl my lashes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tightline and waterline with a very deep, creamy coal black. This is one that I've just started using. It was sent to me with some other things from Sigma. I have to say, this thing is like a little magical dream. It goes on so creamy, so easy. It's perfect for the waterline and the tightlining, and it seems to stay really pretty nicely for a creamy pencil for this, because usually that's the trade-off. They're very creamy, they're easy to get on, but they come off pretty easy. This one has a little lasting power to it, so it's kind of the best of both worlds, really. So I'm gonna tightline and waterline with this. Now above, I definitely do take it in the underside all the way to the corner. I just really like that look, and it does transfer. I've never had any tightlining not transfer some down below to the waterline. But when I do the underneath the waterline down here, I don't take it all the way in. It just goops up really quickly. And so I avoid the inner corner down below here. Our recurled our lashes, it's time for mascara, and I continue to use the Too Faced Better Than Sex, so let's do that now. All right, so I'm gonna do my lips now before we do the cheeks even. I don't know why, but I'm gonna go ahead and use this MAC lip liner. You could also use the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude as well. However, that one needs to be sharpened, and I have to get a decent sharpener. Mine that I have is just not working well. So I'm gonna grab the MAC one here. I'll put the color down below in the description box, if not somewhere in here at this point. So I wanted to talk a little bit about thin lips, especially, you know, the top lip. And here's the thing about aging. Everything is starting to just go that way. And even, you know, where maybe we were even a little less thin, especially in the top area, and at one point it may have been lifted a little bit more. As we age, you know, everything starts falling in here. And that's one of the most common reasons why women start looking into seeing a plastic surgeon about what they can do, about lifting this up a little bit, give you a sense of youthfulness, because it happens to all of us. Unfortunately, for those of us that started out with thinner lips, it's more prevalent, and pretty soon they kind of tend to disappear. So doing this little technique helps, and you may be doing this intuitively already anyway. And I remember watching my mom put her makeup on, and this is how she would do her lips as well, because, you know, she had the same lips because I'm her daughter. So what I do is I first, you know, get this going here. So really the key to this is I don't overdraw that much at all. I just don't really like that look, but I do overdraw a tiny bit here at this juncture. Right in here. So I do kind of go over the top of that line, but then I kind of scoot it in a little bit as it gets down to that corner. So rather than me talk, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. And then, so I did do it right on top of that line. Like, when I mean on top, I don't mean on it. I mean, I am basically creating a new line for that. I guess I am overdrawing a little bit, not by much, but I am. But then to make it look more natural, I definitely then tuck it in and go right to the corner of my natural corner. So I did overdraw just a little bit, and then I'm gonna tuck it in. So that kind of gives a sense of lift a little bit right there. And then down below, because I don't have a big lower lip at all either, I do a straight line right down below, and I am not going to draw under. I'm going to actually go right on top of my natural lip line. But I'm not going in it, I'm just on it. Kind of the same kind of thing that I did right in there. Kind of a straight line. And then what I do is then I do go in it. I don't like to overdraw all the way to the corner. I don't like that look, on me at least. So I do tend to start tucking it in right as I get to the corner. So there we go. So have I created big lips? No. I hopefully though have accentuated my lips a little more, helped them out a little bit. And then I really like to soften that line. So now I'm going to go ahead and I believe what I did, I want to say that I used, so I have this very old Estee Lauder lipstick. It's not old as in it's not good anymore. It's just an older color. So it's here. I just can't read it. So I'll put that up somewhere down in the description box. It's really pretty because it's a neutral on the pink end. I like the Estee Lauder ones because they have a magnet, and I kind of like that. Now I'm going to do a very old-fashioned thing, and I'm actually going to blot my lips. I know. Sigma sent me this eyeshadow base primer. I know, I don't understand what made me think I should put this on my lips. They have these eyeshadow base primers that are really popular right now, and they come in a very wide range. And it's ironic because I can't really figure out how I want to properly use them on my eyes because they do have color to them, and I don't know. I don't quite figure that out. But I love the color of this one. Look at that. So again, it's kind of a neutral color. So I wanted to de-pinkify my lips just a little bit, I remember. So I went ahead and used this at this point. And what it did is it kind of mattified it, my look a little bit, and it also kind of brought down the pink a little. Now to the cheeks. I remember using two Makeup Geek blushes. This one is Promise Ring. It's a very beautiful pink, gorgeous. And I went ahead and used this, which is called Puppy Love. I really hope they still carry these. These are beautiful blushes. They are quite matte. So if you want a little something, something, stick around because I remember doing something else with my cheeks. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the little bit darker one. Let's put these side by side here. So here's the Promise Ring and then Puppy Love. This is quite pink, very light. This one's very neutral. So I'm going to take one of my Foofy brushes. You know I love using these for blush. I have several now. I have this one, I have this one, and I have this one. And I just love the little floofiness there at the ends because, as you know, I tend to go kind of light and soft on my cheeks. So I'm going to use this one for a contour, and I'm going to set it in right here, and I'm going to go toward this area right in here, and I'm going to just put this on in the lower area here. I'm creating contour. This is a nice matte color. It's perfect for this, and I'm really going to take it back into my ear, into my hairline, and the light's going to sink in there because it's a little bit darker color, and it's going to create a nice little hollow for me, but with my blush. So it is just a nice gentle way to do this. All right. Now I'm going to choose a different one here. And I'm going to do the Promise Ring. That really pretty pink. I think pink is a really youthful color to do to the apples of your cheeks. I just think it is youthful. And I love using a true pink right around here. All right, so we are done. We are done with that. However, I do remember doing this. You're going to want to grab your white peach palette once again, and there is this color right here, and it's called Peach Smoothie. It's right above that On the Grill color, right here. And it does have a tiny little bit of a shimmer, and it's a beautiful, soft, rosy pink color. And I'm going to take that brush here. I'm going to wipe it off a little bit down here. And I'm going to pinch this because obviously I don't want to pick up any of that color. So I'm going to just kind of move it around in there and pick some of that Peach Smoothie. And then I'm going to put that right here on the top of my cheek. I'm just going to take my big powder brush here and I'm just going to go over those applications a little here. Just kind of smooth things out. Okay, so next I am going to brighten up with a little extra concealer down here. Sometimes I do that just because if I see that, although I didn't see any fallout, I may have inadvertently blended fallout in and I need to brighten it up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my concealer and a little tiny little sponge there, and I'm just going to do this really lightly. I'm not going to go crazy with the amount. It just needs a little brightening. And I'm going to take my little sponge here and just kind of press it in because, you know, we do have powder there now because I did set my skin. You know, I don't remember if I set the last time, but I do have a couple errands to do, so I want this to stick around a little bit, but I'm not going to set it again. I'm just going to kind of press it in. That way I have a little bit of brightness. And sometimes if I see that I have quite a little shadow, a hollow, that is needing, again, a little bit of brightness. I love this concealer, you guys, because the finish on it is not matte. It's actually got a little bit of something that gives a really pretty dewy finish. So sometimes I will go in there as well and just kind of brighten up that area that I do tend to get a little bit of a hollow, and I can look sunken in a little there. And that's how I sometimes will finish out my makeup look. All right, guys, so this is the final look. I tried to recreate it the best that I remembered based on the way my makeup was for the most part in that gap session that I did just earlier this last week. We dipped a couple times into this Too Faced White Peach palette. I really recommend this palette, you guys. In general, you can create looks just right here within this palette. It's wonderful for travel. It's a great size and it's so pretty. So yeah, we did grab one shadow out of this and a little extra something to brighten up the cheeks since I used mostly matte, you know, cheek colors. Otherwise, it was pretty much Makeup Geek for the eyes and even the cheeks today. If you enjoyed this, I hope you'll consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to see you around more often. All right, guys, have a lovely rest of your day. And if it's in the evening, I hope you sleep well. Until next time, bye-bye.